Good morning. It's March 3rd, 2018. Welcome to CBS This Morning, Saturday. A powerful and deadly storm hits millions of Americans, destroying homes, paralyzing travel, and leaving over 1 million without power. We'll have the latest on the damage. Plus, a killing on campus. A college student allegedly murders his visiting parents, sending classmates into lockdown and police into a desperate search. Details on the arrest.
Looking for clarity, President Trump bewilders lawmakers and the public over his stance on gun legislation and trade tariffs. And with Russia's newest nuclear threat and a North Korea on edge, we'll talk to a man who once helped craft America's doomsday plan. Daniel Ellsberg, the man who leaked the Pentagon Papers, blows the whistle once again to tell us what nuclear conflict would really look like. But we begin this morning with a look at today's eye-opener, Your World in 90 seconds.
The Massachusetts coast is just getting hammered.
There are homes under several feet of water.
Monster storm packing a huge punch.
A deadly storm unleashes chaos on the East Coast.
No one spared, from big snow totals to trees down everywhere.
You can imagine the cleanup effort underway today.
We still have a very long way to go with this storm.
The windy weather across the Northeast made for difficult flying conditions.
More than 3,000 flights were canceled, stranding travelers.
Michigan police have arrested the teenager that they believe shot and killed his own parents in a college dormitory.
This is a traumatic event for all the students and the people that work here.
John Kelly again defended his own handling of the firing of Rob Porter. He included a new version of the timeline.
President Trump escaping the political heat of Washington. The president and his wife are back in Florida following a week of bad headlines.
The amount of chaos in this White House, the amount of infighting in this White House is just incredible.
The worst of the nation's nasty flu season is finally over.
The CDC says that the season peaked early last month.
All that,
a California resort getting dumped on.
Skiers and boarders using whatever they could to free a man buried by an avalanche.
And all that matters.
Funeral services were held for the Reverend Billy Graham.
President Trump, the First Lady, Vice President Pence, and his wife were among the mourners.
My father's greatest longing has been granted. He's in the presence of God.
On CBS This Morning, Saturday.
The New York Times reports the president has asked Chief of Staff John Kelly to push Ivanka Trump and her husband Jared Kushner out of the White House.
Finally, a Trump issue that real Americans can relate to. Not being able to get your grown kids out of the house.
And welcome to the weekend, everyone. I'm Anthony Mason along with Alex Wagner, and we begin this morning with the recovery for millions of Americans in the path of a late winter nor'easter. This morning, the storm is moving out over the Atlantic Ocean, but not before it pounded much of the East Coast with hurricane-force winds, heavy rain, and record snow in some areas. At least 6 deaths are being blamed on the storm.
Rescues took place overnight along the Massachusetts coastline as high tide sent seawater rushing into streets. Even where it wasn't raining or snowing, the high winds were dangerous. Take a look at these passenger jets struggling to land at an airport outside Raleigh, North Carolina. The camera caught one pilot aborting a landing at Reagan National Airport near Washington, D.C.
And situations like that are causing travel to crawl nationwide. Since Friday morning, more than 3,900 flights have been canceled. Chris Van Cleve is in Boston this morning, where rising tides reach near record levels. Chris, good morning.
Good morning. We got about another 500 flights or so canceled today, but Amtrak is back running. You can see it is low tide out here. That's good news for the folks where we are. The winds still intense but dying down. This was a powerful storm. I should be walking upstairs here, but it blew enough sand that I can pretty much just step right up to the seawall. People were very worried when they would get back to these houses here in Winthrop that they would find the ocean had gone through it. Neighbors say the waves were hitting the houses, but it looks like they weathered this storm. The dangerous high tide just before midnight slammed the coast at nearly 14 feet in parts of Massachusetts. Coupled with almost 3 feet of storm surge, it sent ferocious water over seawalls and into neighborhoods. Earlier Friday, Quincy first responders rescued more than 50 stranded residents using boats and front loaders.
It's kind of scary because we were the ones standing up on it and having to hold on.
We have major flooding in Weymouth.
Neighborhoods all along the coast saw serious flooding.
My house is completely underwater. I had everything set up, and it ended up coming in the back instead of the front like it did on January 4th. And I had nothing else I could do. January's bomb cyclone damaged the Cress's Winthrop home. On Friday, we found them waiting for a National Guard truck to escape more flooding and the 4 feet of water rising in their basement. So you guys flooded once before this winter.
Yes.
It's happening all over again.
6 weeks ago. We just finished everything. New furnace, new washer and dryer. We had to replace our pipes because they froze last time.
The nor'easter also blanketed parts of the Northeast in snow. Syracuse, New York broke a record with more than 14 inches, making Friday the snowiest day of the winter. High winds toppled power lines, knocking out electricity to more than 2.5 million people. Trees crashed into homes. In Chester, Virginia, the storm turned tragic.
You just see that it went through the trailer right there.
A falling tree killed a 6-year-old boy. And in Maryland, a 100-year-old woman had to be rescued after 50-mile-an-hour winds brought this tree down.
I'm just trying to get home. As you can hear, I have a cold.
The weather forced Amtrak to cancel trains between Washington, D.C. and Boston. That left commuters like Tissa Joyner-Nance frustrated.
I expected it to be, inclement, but not where it would stop the trains from running. It's not like we're not in the Northeast and this doesn't happen every year.
More than 3,000 flights were canceled Friday, stranding people like Betsy Sulcer. She was trying to get from Boston to her bachelorette party in Nashville.
You seem in pretty good spirits for maybe missing your bachelorette.
Yeah, I mean, with a bunch of good girls, so we'll have fun either way.
She took that better than I would have. Now, a lot of people here in Winthrop spent the night pumping water out of their basements. There was a lot of storm surge, and that brought a lot of water in. So you walk around the streets here, you see a lot of these hoses that have been pumping water out into the street, and there, no exaggerating, is sand everywhere. With the wind dying down, the focus now becomes getting the lights back on to the hundreds of thousands of people here in Massachusetts that are waking up in the dark. Anthony and Alex.
Chris Van Cleve in Boston. Thank you, Chris. And the West Coast, on the West Coast, rain caused serious problems in parts of California. The downpour sent a torrent of mud and rocks onto major roadways and forced closings in Montecito, northwest of Los Angeles. The town, of course, that was ravaged by a deadly mudslide in January. A mandatory evacuation order has been lifted, though.
Even though it was raining hard in Hollywood, the preparations for the 90th Academy Awards went on as scheduled Friday. The weather is expected to be dry by the award ceremonies tomorrow. And in Utah, emergency crews were busy on Friday following a powerful windstorm there. Several large trucks were blown over by high winds on Interstate 80. Downed electrical poles knocked power out for several customers.
Meteorologist Ed Curran of our Chicago station WBBM-TV has more on the weather. Ed, how's it look today?
Well, things are getting better as we take a look at this storm system that continues to move out to sea. Things will improve, but it'll take a while to get there. Gale warnings, storm warnings are up, as you can see. They'll remain for a while. And we have the coastal flood warnings that remain for a time as the winds continue to die down. Here are the isobars, the bars of pressure. The closer together they are, the windier it is. You can see as we go into tomorrow, they start to loosen up. So gradually we bring the winds down along the coast. Meanwhile, out west, winter storm warnings are up. You can see 4 to 8 inches here, 4 to 12 inches, even a few feet of snow up high in the mountains, and a fire weather warning up for New Mexico, for Colorado, up in Kansas, and part of Texas as well. Alex?
Meteorologist Ed Curran of our Chicago station WBBM-TV. Thanks, Ed. Also breaking overnight in Michigan, a manhunt has ended for a suspected shooter in a campus killing. 19-year-old James Eric Davis was taken into custody in the city of Mount Pleasant. More than 100 police officers spent Friday searching neighborhoods around Central Michigan University for Davis after his parents were found shot to death in a campus dorm room. DeMarco Morgan is here with the latest. DeMarco, good morning.
Good morning to you. The suspect was spotted by someone on a train as it passed through the Central Michigan campus. He was arrested a short time later, and the shooting happened on the last day of classes at the school before a week-long break, as many parents were arriving to pick up their kids.
The CMU Police Department is responding to a report of shots fired.
The shooting inside a dorm room shook Central Michigan University with the campus on lockdown. Students were encouraged to shelter in place.
So right now what I'm seeing is a lot of paramedics, police officers, FBI is on scene right now. I spoke with one of my sources that's actually on the 4th floor of Campbell Hall where those shots rang out, and she's very shooken up. She's telling me that right now police officers are checking hall by hall, room by room.
The incident took place on the last day of classes before spring break, with parents on campus picking up children.
We believe this situation involves a domestic-type incident.
University police identified the victims as James Davis, a police officer, and his wife, Diva. Their son, James Eric Davis Jr., is the only suspect in their killings.
And we're asking that our community members call us. Call 911 if you see this individual, and he should be considered armed and dangerous.
SWAT teams looked for Davis by foot, while helicopters searched for any signs of Davis by air. Students who know Davis say they are in shock.
It took my breath away. I would never expect it to be him at all.
He was normal and he was funny.
Yeah,
so
super nice.
I never would have guessed. He was a good kid.
Police say the younger Davis was hospitalized Thursday night because of a possible drug overdose. In addition to being a police officer, James Davis Sr. was an Iraq War veteran, and friends say the suspect's mother was a breast cancer survivor. Just an awful and disturbing story.
Incredibly sad, DeMarco. Incredibly sad. Thank you. President Trump returns to the White House today after a brief overnight stay at his Mar-a-Lago resort in Florida. Awaiting the president in Washington are questions about his stance on gun control. This week, he called for tougher gun laws and also expressed his support for the National Rifle Association.
The president's shifting legislative priorities on gun reform have bewildered lawmakers, with some calling it a performance and comparing it to a reality TV show. Nikki Batiste is at the White House. Nikki, good morning.
Good morning. Early this week, President Trump said he supports strong measures on gun control. Then he met with the NRA and seemed to change his tune. The president's swaying stance has lawmakers scratching their head, and now Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell is putting the gun debate on hold.
Now, this is not a popular thing to say in terms of the NRA, but I'm saying it anyway.
Meeting with a group of bipartisan lawmakers at the White House earlier this week, President Trump called for a comprehensive gun control package that would include tougher background checks and raise the minimum age to buy assault weapons to 21. He also said authorities should be able to seize weapons without a court order.
Take the guns first, go through due process second.
The tough stance from Mr. Trump on guns left Democrats bewildered and some lawmakers confused.
I don't know yet whether that was just a performance or whether that is actually the new position of the White House.
Just one day later, the president met with leaders of the National Rifle Association. After the meeting, the NRA's chief lobbyist tweeted, "Mr. Trump and Vice President Pence support strong due process and don't want gun control." The president then tweeted saying he had a good, great meeting in the Oval Office with the NRA, suggesting a softened approach on gun reform.
I don't think the NRA has had concerns with this president.
White House Press Secretary Sarah Sanders said the president is committed to the Second Amendment.
He's going to continue to have those conversations, continue to work with Congress to create legislation that we think can help improve this system.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer told CBS News dealing with the president on this issue is like negotiating with Jell-O because his positions always change.
That the president is once again backing off because the hard right, in this case the NRA, is pressuring him.
Schumer questioned the president's leadership, saying Mr. Trump says the right thing with news cameras in the room, then weakens his positions after pressure from special interest groups.
When the NRA says jump and he answers how high and totally reverses his position, that's bad for America.
Sources tell CBS News President Trump called Republican Senator John Cornyn the same night he met with the NRA to reiterate his support for stronger background checks. Anthony?
Nikki Batiste at the White House this morning. Thanks, Nikki. And now joining us with a deeper look at all this is Sahil Kapoor. He's national political reporter for Bloomberg News. Sahil, good morning.
Good morning.
Well, if the lawmakers in Washington are confused by the president, what are we supposed to make of the possibility of gun reform here?
Well, it's certainly baffling a lot of members of Congress, Democrats and Republicans, because the president kind of went out there and took a position for gun control against the politics within his party. But I think what most people are thinking is Republicans at least, stay in a holding pattern right now. Don't go against the politics because the president is mercurial. He's shifted before. You don't know if, as Jeff Flake put it to me, it's going to be the Tuesday Trump or the Thursday Trump. The president has an extraordinary ability to influence his party if he's consistent and methodical on this, given his credibility with the party base. But so far in immigration, he moved away from that stance after showing an intent to compromise at first, and he's beginning to do the same on guns.
Well, in terms of both immigration and gun safety reform, there have been a number of high-profile meetings and statements and all the rest. But legislatively, do you expect anything to be done this year?
Unlikely. I think there are no two issues that Republican leaders are more eager to avoid than gun control and immigration liberalization, as congressional primaries are coming up, and many of them are facing an electorate that does not want to go there with these two issues. So I think most likely we're looking at a Congress that just tries to keep the lights on for the rest of the year. No government shutdowns, no catastrophic debt defaults, and let the voters decide the rest in November.
Meanwhile, there have been some major personnel changes at the White House this week, and some potential personnel changes as well. Let's talk about Hope Hicks first. Very close to the president. How does this affect the president, do you think? It's a momentous change because she's one of the few people, probably the only person, who's still in the White House, close to the president, in his inner circle, who's been with him before he was in politics, when he was in the private sector here in New York, all throughout the campaign, the transition team, the inauguration. And she rose to become communications director in the White House practically by default because everyone else kept getting pushed out or getting fired or ended up leaving for one reason or another. So these are big shoes to fill. The important thing about her, I would say, is that unlike most people in the Trump orbit, she's kind of floated above the fray in a circle that's been defined by leaking and backstabbing and all sorts of nasty chaos. Yeah.
Well, speaking of the inner circle, those in and those out, there has been a dramatic conflict publicly between the president and his attorney general, Jeff Sessions. What do you make of that, Sahil? This is the first time we've actually seen Jeff Sessions push back on the president.
That's absolutely right. And I think Jeff Sessions is standing up for himself after a barrage of Twitter attacks from the president that's gone on throughout the year. It's highly unusual to see this. This is not a normal thing to see the president publicly feuding with members of his own cabinet.
What about the president's son-in-law, Jared Kushner, whose security clearance, top secret clearance, he lost it this week. And at the same time, there are questions about his business relationships. And there are rumors of him fighting with Mr. Kelly as well. Is he at risk?
These are certainly dark days, I think, for the presidential son-in-law. It's been a rough week. He's lost his top secret clearance. He's in the crosshairs of special counsel Bob Mueller in the Russia investigation. He's millions of dollars in debt. We've learned that foreign governments are looking at ways to potentially manipulate him as a result of his complex business dealings with his family. And his status, I think, is probably more tenuous than it's been. But again, family members have a special place in the president's orbit. I suspect if he wants to stick around, he'll find a way.
But this chaos is having practical implications in terms of U.S. foreign policy, in terms of U.S. position on issues like trade. Yeah. The president's announced tariffs on the steel and aluminum industry came as a shock to most of his own advisors, including Gary Cohn. What can we learn from this, Sahil?
Well, so a few things. It was certainly abrupt the way it came about, right? No internal government review, no diplomatic strategy, no communication strategy to sell this and explain it. But nobody should be surprised that he did it. Trade protectionism and closed borders are perhaps the one consistency of Donald Trump's worldview since well before he was in politics.
But his own advisors did not believe he was there on this issue yet up until this week. Is that right?
And that's why we should take from this that President Trump only really listens to himself on the issue of trade. You're absolutely right that there's a division in the White House. Most members of his own party, the leadership in Congress, are not in favor of this. The most interesting thing here is that there's a threat of retaliation from the EU. Two of the companies that they're threatening to go after, Harley-Davidson and Kentucky Bourbon, headquartered in the home states of House Speaker Paul Ryan and Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell. That's not a coincidence.
Some very shrewd EU decision-making over there.
Very strategic, yes.
Sahil Kapoor, we'll be talking more about those tariffs and the global implications coming up in the next hour. Thank you for your time, Sahil.
Thank you.
Tomorrow morning on Face the Nation here on CBS, Margaret Brennan's guests will include Senator Joe Manchin, Democrat of West Virginia, Republican Senator Lindsey Graham of South Carolina, and Peter Navarro, Director of the White House National Trade Council.
The man often described as America's pastor has been laid to rest. President Trump, Vice President Pence, and their wives were among the 2,000 mourners who gathered under a large white tent in Charlotte, North Carolina Friday for the funeral of Reverend Billy Graham. Graham's son, Franklin, spoke of his father's love for family and assured his parishioners the preacher and his father were one and the same.
The Billy Graham that the world saw in the big stadiums was the same Billy Graham that we saw at home. There weren't two Billy Grahams.
Graham was buried next to his wife, Ruth, who died in 2007. The Reverend Billy Graham was 99 years old.
Time to show you some of this morning's headlines. USA Today reports the 58 families who lost loved ones in the Las Vegas shooting will receive $275,000. The money comes from a $31 million victims fund that started as a GoFundMe effort. Organizers plan to compensate the 10 people who were paralyzed or suffered permanent brain damage, as well as about 147 people hospitalized from the October rampage.
The Minneapolis Star-Tribune reports a potential tragedy has been averted after police found an arsenal of weapons, including an explosive device, in the home of a teenager. Police near St. Paul obtained a warrant to search the home after a 13-year-old student said he was threatened by that teen. The parents and the teen were arrested on negligent storage of firearms charges. Authorities say there are no known threats to students or to the school.
The Las Vegas Review-Journal reports a wrongful death lawsuit has been filed in connection with a deadly helicopter crash last month at the Grand Canyon. The parents of British tourist Jonathan Udall are accusing the helicopter company of not outfitting its choppers with crash-resistant fuel systems. Udall and his wife were among the 5 people who died in the crash. The suit seeks unspecified damages. There's been no comment from the company.
The San Francisco Chronicle reports at least 3 people suffered serious injuries after accidentally walking into glass walls inside the sleek Apple headquarters in Silicon Valley because they were hard to see. The injuries happened shortly after the $5 billion Apple Park complex opened in January. Apple has since added stickers to some glass walls to prevent additional injuries.
And TMZ reports the Academy Awards believes in second chances, and the proof will be seen on Sunday night when actors Warren Beatty and Faye Dunaway present the Best Picture winner at the Oscars after last year's screw-up. The two famously announced La La Land as the winner after being handed the wrong envelope when it was actually Moonlight. Beatty and Dunaway joked during a rehearsal that they will not screw up twice. I will say PricewaterhouseCoopers had a role to play in all of that.
Yeah, I'm glad they get a second